Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum students. I hope all of you are fine and doing well at home. So students, if you remember that in the geometry section we have started chapter number 12, triangles and quadrilaterals. So this is the topic that we are going to continue today. Okay, so this is your overall lecture number 40 and I am your math teacher Miss Falak Naz. Before starting the lecture, I am going to quickly review the topics that we have covered so far in this chapter. First, I have explained you the definition of triangles, then classification of triangles, and then we learn about quadrilaterals. Okay, so these were the topic that we have discussed in our previous lecture. Okay, if you remember, when we started the chapter triangles and quadrilaterals, so we covered the topics triangles, classification of triangles, and quadrilaterals. Now, what we are going to learn today. So, what is our today's topic? Our today's topic is kinds of quadrilaterals. So, this is our topic that we are going to learn in this lecture, right? Now, what are the kinds of quadrilateral? If you will remember, what is a quadrilateral? Quadrilateral is a figure that is bounded by four straight lines. Okay, if you remember that if you have any figure that is bounded by four straight line and it is of any shape, okay, the condition is the line should be four and there should be line should be bounded with each other. It means irrespective of any shape. So this type of figure is called as quadrilateral. So depending on their shapes, we have different types of or different kinds of quadrilaterals. So here are some different kinds of quadrilateral. Number one is parallelogram. Okay, how will you read it? Parallelogram. Number two is rhombus. Okay, this is the kind of quadrilateral. Number three is rectangle. Okay. Number four is square. Number five is trapezoid, and number six is isosceles trapezoid. What are these? These are basically the kinds of quadrilateral. As you know that quadrilateral is a figure that is bounded by four straight lines, irrespective of the shape, means any shape. If you have any shape but that shape contains four lines and bounded with each other, so that shape will be called as quadrilateral. Now there are different kinds of quadrilaters. So number one is parallelogram, number two is rhombus, number three is rectangle, number four is square, number five is trapezoid, and number six is isosceles trapezoid. Okay, you should learn their names. Okay, why this lecture is important? Because if you will learn all the properties and all the definitions of these quadrilaterals, so it will become easier for you to attempt exercise number 12.2. Okay, so this lecture is very very important and you have to learn each and every concept. Understand, you have to memorize each and every concept as this lecture is very important. Now, let's start from the first kind of quadrilateral, which is a parallelogram. Okay, now what is a parallelogram? Okay, parallelogram is the first kind of quadrilateral. Now, what is uh, parallelogram? A quadrilateral, okay, any quadrilateral means a figure which is bounded by four straight lines whose both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Okay, whose both pairs of opposite sides are parallel means if they have any opposite and those opposite sides are parallel, so you will say that the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, what you will say that if you have any quadrilateral whose both pairs of opposite sides are parallel, so you will say that the given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Understand? Now it is denoted by this symbol. Okay, this is the symbol to denote parallelogram. Okay, two straight lines, okay, and m that represent gram, and this symbol will represent parallelogram. So this is the symbol of parallelogram. Understand? Now, here you have, this is basically a parallelogram. Why it is a parallelogram? Because the condition for parallelogram is both pairs of opposite sides. Now what are opposite sides here? This side and this side is opposite, and the opposite side of this one is this one. So as you can see here, these lines, the opposite sides are parallel, means they will never intersect each other at any point. So you will say that these two lines are parallel and these two sides that are opposite are parallel. So you will say that this type of figure is a parallelogram. Okay, now here I'm going to tell you some properties of parallelograms, and these properties are very important. You have to learn each and every property of the quadrilateral. Okay, now the first property of parallelogram is opposite sides of parallelogram are congruent. Okay, opposite sides mean I'm talking about this side and this side, and this side and this side. So the opposite sides of parallelogram are congruent. Okay, now look at here. This you have side, these are the side. This is side AB is equals to side CD. Okay, now where is AB and CD, and where is AD and BC? Now look at here. Look at in this quadrilateral. This is point A, and this is point B. Okay, so this side is will be AB. Okay, now this is equals to 6 centimeter. Okay, now the opposite side of AB will be this C and D. I'm talking about this C and D, and it is also will be, it is also equals to 6 centimeter. So the first condition is opposite sides are congruent. Congruent means same or equal. Similarly, the second pair of opposite side is this one, this BC. If the BC is equals to 3 centimeter, so the opposite side of this one will be this AD. So this will be also equals to 3 centimeter. Okay, so the opposite sides of parallelogram are congruent. Second property is this, opposite angles of parallelogram are congruent. Now what are opposite angles? Angle A and angle C is congruent, means angle A will be equals to angle C, and angle B is equals to angle D. Now which one is angle A? This one. Okay, this is your angle A. Now the opposite angle of A will be this one, C. Okay, now the measurement of angle A, if uh, 15, just suppose if A is equals to 15 degree, so C will also equals to 15 degree. Okay, so the opposite angles are also congruent. Similarly, angle B, this is angle B. Okay, this will be equals to angle C. Just suppose if it is equals to 110 degree, so angle D will also equals to 110 degree. Understand? Clear? Okay, now I'm erasing everything. Now move on to the third point. Any two consecutive angles of parallelogram are supplementary. Now, what are consecutive angles? This one, this angle A and angle B are consecutive. Then the consecutive angle of B will be C, C will be D, and D will be A. So these are called the consecutive angles. And if you will add any two consecutive angles of parallelogram, so they are supplementary, means their sum will be equals to 180 degree. Okay, just suppose if you have angle A, if you will add angle A into angle B, so the answer must be equals to 180 degree. Similarly, if you are going to add angle B into angle C, so the answer will be 180. Similarly, if you are going to add C into D, so answer will be 180 degree, yani ke supplementary angle. Okay, so any two consecutive angles of parallelogram are supplementary, right? Now the last thing is diagonals of parallelogram bisect each other. Diagonals means what? Any straight line then join the opposite angles, vertex of the opposite angle. That line segment is called as a diagonals. Okay, bisect each other. Now the first diagonal is AO is equals to CO. Okay, now this is AO and CO. It will bisect the second one, which is OB and OD. You said BO or DO. So diagonals will bisect each other. Okay, bisect means they will cross them each other. Okay, Now move on to the next one, rhombus. Second kind of quadrilateral is rhombus. Now what is a rhombus? A rhombus is parallelogram. Okay, rhombus is a parallelogram. Okay, whose adjacent sides are congruent, but none of the angle is a right angle. This is important. Okay, a rhombus is parallelogram whose adjacent sides are congruent. Means all the sides will be congruent, but none of the angle is a right angle. How? Just look at this one. If you will look very carefully, all the sides of this rhombus are congruent. Okay, all the sides will be congruent, means all the sides will be equal. But as you can see here, none of the angle is right angle. Means we cannot say that this angle is equals to 90 degree. Okay, now so the properties of rhombus. So the first property and the most common property of rhombus is that all the four sides. How many sides are there? Four sides because it's a quadrilateral. So all the four sides of rhombus are congruent. Means AB side AB will be equals to side BC. Then side BC will be equals to side CD. Now look at here, which is AB. This is AB. Okay, this is AB and it is equals to 5 centimeter. If one side is 5 centimeter, so all the sides of a rhombus will be equals to 5 centimeter because all sides are congruent. So this BC, this is BC, which is also equals to 5 centimeter. This is CD, which is also equals to 5 centimeter. Now this DA, what about this DA, or you can say AD? It is also equals to 5 centimeter. So the all sides of a rhombus are congruent. Okay. Now, second property is opposite angles of rhombus are congruent. Opposite angles. Now, what are opposite angle? Obviously, the opposite angle of A will be angle C. Opposite angle of B will be D. Okay, now opposite angles are congruent, just like the previous or just like the parallelogram. Means angle A will be equals to angle C, and the measurement of angle B will be equals to angle D. Now, this is your angle A. It will be equals to angle C. Okay, both the measurements will be same. Next is this B, angle B, and the opposite angle of B will be angle D, and these angles, the measurement of these angles will be equal. Okay, if the measurement of angle A is 65, so the measurement of angle B will be 65. If the measurement of angle B is 115, so the measurement of angle D will be 115. So the opposite angles are also congruent. Okay, now the third property is any two consecutive angles of rhombus are supplementary. Just like the previous one, any two consecutive angles of a rhombus are supplementary. Now what are consecutive angle? The consecutive angle of A will be B. Okay, A will be B. Okay, so if you will add these two angles, the answer should be equals to what? Answer should be equals to 180 degree. So any two consecutive angles of a rhombus are supplementary. Just suppose measurement of angle A plus measurement of angle B will be equals to 180. Similarly, if you will add angle B and angle C, so their sum should be also equals to 180 degree. And if you are going to add angle C into angle D, so the sum will be equals to 180 degrees. So any two consecutive, any one, okay, whether it is A and D, whether it is D and C, whether it is C and B, any two consecutive angles of rhombus are supplementary, means their sum will be equals to 180 degree. Now the last one is diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular to each other. Diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular to each other. Perpendicular means when they will make the angle of 90 degree. When two lines intersect in such a way that they will make the angle of 90 degrees, so you will see that the lines are perpendicular. So what are the diagonals here? The first diagonal is this one. This is BD, and the second diagonal is this one, which is AC. So after the bisecting, or when they will intersect with each other, so they will form the angle of 90 degree. Okay, so the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular to each other. So this is a symbol of perpendicular. So these are the properties of rhombus, and you have to memorize all these properties. Now move on to the third kind, sorry, which is a rectangle. And all of you are familiar with the definition of rectangle, that what is a rectangle. Obviously, all of you know that the rectangle, yes or no? Okay, now I'm going to tell you is that rectangle is a parallelogram. Okay, rectangle is a parallelogram. Why it is a parallelogram? Because it is a figure which is bounded by four straight lines. But how will you define a rectangle? A rectangle is parallelogram whose all angles are right angles. Okay, means all the angles will be right angles, means all the angles will be equals to 90 degree. If all the angles is 90 degree, so you will say that the given figure is rectangle. Okay, now look at here. This is a rectangle. Why? Because as you can see here, these are the angles. Okay, and all the angles are right angles, so you will say that it is a rectangle. This is a parallelogram, but which kind of parallelogram? Rectangle. Okay, you have to identify the kinds of parallelogram with the help of figure. So according to the definition, this is a rectangle because all the angles are 90 degree. Now, properties of a rectangle. Now, opposite sides of rectangle are congruent. Opposite sides of rectangle are congruent, just like the parallelogram. Okay, now if I'm going to draw the picture of parallelogram here, look at here. This line, this, this, and this. Okay, now what is the similarity in parallelogram? This is a parallelogram. Okay, this is a parallelogram. I am drawing the symbol of parallelogram here. Okay, this is a parallelogram and this is a rectangle. What is the similarity and dissimilarity between these two different kinds of triangle, quadrilateral? Now, as you can see here, the opposite sides of parallelogram are congruent. Similarly, here you can learn here the opposite sides of rectangle are also congruent. Just suppose angle A, sorry, side AB will be equals to side CD and side BC will be equals to side AD. Okay, now look at here. This is AB, which is equals to 6 centimeter. Okay, now opposite side of this will be C and D, which is also equals to 6 centimeter because the opposite sides of a rectangle are congruent. Similarly, side BC, this is side BC is 3 centimeter. So the opposite side of BC will be AD. So AD will also equals to 3 centimeter. So what is the similarity between rectangle and parallelogram? In parallelogram also opposite sides are equal. Okay, opposite sides are equal. So this is the similarity between parallelogram and rectangle. But what is the difference between rectangle and parallelogram? All angles of a rectangle are congruent. Okay, when if you talk about the parallelogram, so none of the angle of a opposite angles, only the opposite angles of parallelogram are congruent. Here you can learn all angles of a rectangle are congruent, all angles. Okay, whereas in parallelogram only opposite angles are congruent. Also, all of its angle, we are talking about the rectangle, so all of its angles are right angle. All the angles of a rectangle are right angles, means angle A plus measurement of angle A is equals to angle B, measurement of angle B is equals to measurement of angle C, measurement of angle C is equals to measurement of angle D, and all these measurements are equals to 90 degree. Understand, all these are equals to 90 degree. Marusha, what's wrong with you? Why you are continuously disturbing the class? Okay, now look at here. If we talk about angle A, so angle A will be equals to 90 degree, means all the angles of a rectangular right angle. Angle B will be also equals to 90 degree. Then angle C is also equals to 90 degree, and angle D will be also equals to 90 degree. So all the angles of a rectangle are 90 degree, and all of the angles are congruent. Okay, understand? Now move on to the fourth kind of the quadrilateral, which is a square, and this is the very easy and simplest kind of a quadrilateral. Okay. Now a square is a rectangle whose adjacent sides are congruent. Okay. What is the difference between square and rectangle? In square, only opposite sides are congruent, whereas in square, all the sides are congruent. Look at this figure. Okay, this is a square in which all the sides are congruent. Now what is the properties of a square? AB, okay, side AB, Okay, side AB will be equals to side BC. BC will be equals to CD, and CD will be equals to DA. Adjacent sides, okay, means all the four sides of a square are congruent. All the four sides. Now this is side AB, which is equals, and this is side CD. Okay. Now AB is equals to 5 centimeter and CD is equals to 5 centimeter. Also, BC is equals to 5 centimeter and AD will also equals to 5 centimeter. So all the four sides of a square are congruent. Okay, now the second thing is measurement of angle A will be equals to measurement of angle B, measurement of angle B will be equals to measurement of angle C, and measurement of angle C will be equals to measurement of angle D. Okay, so all the angles of a square, all the angles of a square are right angles. Okay, now look at here. This is basically a rhombus. Why it's a rhombus? Because all the sides are equals, just like the square. But if we will talk about the square, so all the angles are right angles. In square, all the angles are right angle, whereas in rhombus, none of the angle is right angle. Okay, only opposite angles will be congruent. Okay, now third postulate is diagonals of square are perpendicular to each other. Now we are talking about this one. Just a minute. I'm going to erase. Now look at here. All the angles of a square are right angle. Now look at here. If angle A is equals to 90 degrees, so angle B will also equals to 90 degree. Angle C will be 90 degree, and angle D will also equals to 90 degree. Okay, all the sides are same and all the angles are right angle. So that figure will be called as a square. Okay. Now, AC is perpendicular to BD. So diagonals of square are perpendicular to each other. Diagonals of square are perpendicular to each other. Okay, just like this. These are the diagonals and they are perpendicular to each other. Understand? Now move on to the fifth type, which is the trapezoid. Now, what is a trapezoid? A trapezoid is a quadrilateral. Okay, this is another kind of quadrilateral which has only one pair. Okay, now the condition is which has only one pair of parallel sides. Okay, if we talk about the parallelogram, so in parallelogram, two pairs of parallel side, whereas in trapezoid, only one pair of parallel sides. Okay, now parallel sides AB and CD are called the bases. Okay, whichever whatever the parallel side, that parallel side will be called as the basis of trapezoid. Okay, now look at this. This is basically a trapezoid. Why it's a trapezoid? As you can see here, this is the parallel side. Why it's a parallel side? Because they will never intersect at any point. If you will extend these lines, so these lines never intersect at any point. But if you will extend these lines, if you are going to, just a minute. Now I'm talking about this one. Look at here. If you will extend this line, okay, I'm talking about this one. If you will extend this line and you will extend this line, so at one point they will meet with each other. Okay, so obviously this is the non-parallel side. Okay, this is the non-parallel side and this is the parallel side. Understand? Clear? What are the parallel side and what are the non-parallel side? Is it clear what are the parallel side and what are the non-parallel side? Okay, this is the parallel side and this is the non-parallel side. Understand? Now the parallel side are called the bases. Okay, now what are bases here? This is A and this is B, this is C and D. So this is the parallel side, so you will say that this is the basis of our trapezoid. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? This is a trapezoid A, B, C, and D, in which the basis will be these parallel sides. Understand? Now move on to the last kind of quadrilateral, which is isosceles trapezoid. Now, what is an isosceles trapezoid? It is a trapezoid which has two non-parallel sides are equal. Okay, non-parallel sides equal. Now look at here, it is a trapezoid. Okay, isosceles trapezoid is a trapezoid, but non-parallel side. Now what are the non-parallel sides here? This one and this one. Okay, this is the non-parallel side, and these non-parallel sides should be equal. Means if the measurement of this angle is 3 centimeter, this side is 3 centimeter, so the measurement of this side should be equals to 3 centimeter. So if the non-parallel sides are equal, so you will say that this is an isosceles trapezoid. Understand? Now, what are the properties of isosceles trapezoid? The first property of isosceles trapezoid is base angles of an isosceles trapezoids are congruent. Now, what are base angles? First of all, you should know what are bases here. This one. Okay, this is the base and this is the base. Understand? So the angle which will be on base side. So you will say that these angles are base angle. So the base angles of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent. That is, angle A will be equals to angle B and angle C will be equals to angle D. Now, which is angle A here? This is angle A and this is angle B. Okay, so the measurement of angle A, this is A and this is angle B. So the angle A and angle B will be the base angle and their measurements should be equal. Okay, similarly, the another pair of base angle is this one, C, okay, and D. This is D. Okay. So these are the base angle because these are the bases of the trapezoid. So C and D will also equal. So the measurement of base angles are equal. Understand? Now the second property is opposite sides of an isosceles trapezoids are supplementary. Opposite angles. Okay. Now what are opposite angles? Opposite angle, if the angle A here, so the opposite of angle of A will be angle C. Okay, similarly if the B is the angle, so the opposite angle of B will be D. So the opposite angles are supplementary in isosceles trapezoid. Okay, opposite angles are supplementary means measurement of angle A plus measurement of angle C will be equals to 180 degree. Means if you will add these two angles, so their sum should be equals to 180 degree. Understand? And similarly measurement of angle B, this is measurement, this is angle B and angle D. If you will add these two angles, so their sum should be also equals to 180 degree. So the opposite angles of an isosceles trapezoid are supplementary. Understand? Is it clear? Please tell me, is it clear? Is there any problem in this lecture? Okay, so far what we have learned about the kinds of quadrilaterals. Understand? We are talking about here kinds of quadrilateral. Now, this is the end of the lecture, and now we are moving towards the question answer session. Okay, so already, yes, Hamza, you have to memorize it. Okay, you have to memorize. Basically, you have to memorize each and everything. Okay, you have to learn all these properties, and this is what I am going to give you in today's assignment, that you have to learn all the properties of given kinds of quadrilateral. Okay, if you will not memorize it, if you will not learn it, you will not be able to solve exercise number 12.2. Okay, if you want to solve exercise number 12.2, so you should learn all these properties. Although these properties are very simple, if you will try to learn it strictly, so it is simple. Okay, okay, Iman. Okay, now let's start the question answer session here. Now please write the answer of this one. Opposite angles. Okay, opposite angles of an isosceles trapezoids are what? Opposite angles of an isosceles trapezoid are what? Write down the answer in the chat box. Hurry up. I'm going to check the answer, just a minute. Now, opposite angles. Ajwa, please turn off your video. Ajwa, turn off your video, bete. Yes, what is the answer? I'm checking your answer, just a minute. Yes, supplementary. So the correct answer is opposite angles of an isosceles trapezoid are supplementary. Now move on to the next one. A dash is a quadrilateral which has only one pair of parallel sides. A dash is a quadrilateral which has only one pair of parallel sides. Yes, what will be the answer of this one? Yes, very good, Meeram. What about others? Yes, Hamza, right. Yes, Farda, you are right. Yes, Saad Suhail, wrong. Saad Suhail, you are wrong. One pair of parallel side. No, Saad Suhail. Anyone else? Where are other students? I am calling your name. Where is Varisha? Yes, Zain Fahim, where are you? Ehan, where are you, bete? Jawad Kareem, Hibal, Hafsa, Hadika, Iman Adnan, please reply. Abbas Hussain, please reply. No, no. In parallelogram, both the pairs are parallel. Both the pairs are parallel in parallelogram. Both the sides are parallel. Okay. What will be the answer for this one? No. A dash is a quadrilateral which has only one pair. So what will be the answer? Answer will be trapezoid. Okay. Answer will be trapezoid, which has only one pair of parallel side. Okay, answer will be trapezoid. Now move on to the next one. Opposite angles of parallelogram are dash, means supplementary or congruent. Opposite angles of parallelogram are dash. Opposite angles of parallelogram are dash. What will be the answer? Opposite angles of parallelogram are dash. Opposite angles. Yes, very good. Yes, you are giving the right answer. Opposite angles of parallelogram. We are talking about the angles. Okay, we are talking about the angles. So the opposite angles of parallelogram are congruent. Yes. Okay, answer will be congruent. Okay, clear? Now move on to the next one. A quadrilateral whose, okay, we are talking about here a quadrilateral whose both pairs of opposite sides are parallel are is called a dash. Okay, both pairs of opposite side, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So what you will say that what is it? Which one? Which kind of the quadrilateral will it be? Yes, very good, Varda. Yes, yes, all of you are giving the right answer. Answer will be, yes, answer will be parallelogram. Okay, answer will be parallelogram. Right. Now move on to the next one. A dash is a rectangle. Okay, dash is a rectangle whose adjacent sides are congruent. A dash is a rectangle. If we are talking about a rectangle, okay, so all the adjacent sides of that rectangle is congruent. So what you will say that what it will be, rhombus or square? What will be the answer? Yes, very good, Varda, your answer is right. You said a rhombus is not the answer. Okay, we are talking about the rectangle. Yes, so the answer will be square. Answer will be square. Understand? Answer will be square. Now next one is all the four angles of a square are dash, simple and easy. All the four angles of a square are dash. Very easy. Easy and simple. Okay, you can say that all the four angles of a square are congruent. This is a right answer, but whether they are right angles or not. Yes, all the four angles of a square are congruent. Yes, right answer. So what you will say that there are two options. You will say that all the four angles of a square are congruent. You can say that all the four angles of a square are congruent, or also you can say that all the four angles of a square are right angle. Okay, both answer will be same. Understand? Is it clear? Yes, 90-degree. Now, yes, very good. So all of you are giving the right answer. So now, Iman Adnan, I think, was asking about. I think Iman Adnan was asking about isosceles trapezoid, right, Iman? Am I right? Please tell me. Yes, Iman Adnan was asking about isosceles trapezoid, right? So I'm going to explain it again. Now, what are isosceles trapezoid? Just a minute. Here it is. Now look at here. First, I'm going to erase everything. Now look at here. Just a minute. Now, what is an isosceles trapezoid? It is a trapezoid which has two non-parallel sides, and that non-parallel side should be equal. Okay, so here you have an isosceles trapezoid, and as you can see here, this is the non-parallel side, and these sides should be equal. So if the non-parallel sides are equal, so you will say that it is an isosceles trapezoid. Isos means same. Okay, now what is a property of isosceles trapezoid? Base angles of an isosceles trapezoid are congruent, means these are the base angle A and B. So these angles will be congruent. Understand? A will be equals to B and C will be equals to D. Similarly, the second property is that opposite angles of an isosceles trapezoid, these are the opposite angle A and C. So they should be supplementary. Okay. Now this is the end of the lecture, and I would like to say if you have any questions, so please write it down in the chat box. And I would like to say thank you at the end of the session. So if you have any question, please write it down in the chat box. Time is running out.